You know, the harvest this doesn't come in one day. And Yah give a harvest that you need time to reap. Can't reap it all in one day. So we're going to open up to the book of Numbers. We are in the book of Numbers, chapter 4. Shabbat Shalom to Tennessee.
Shabbat Shalom.
Who's ever online? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yes, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Good to hear y'all's voice. Shabbat Shalom to Florida, Dominican Republic, Africa, and anywhere else you may be in the world tuning in. Minister Yosef is at another joyous occasion today. That's why he's not here. He has another graduation in his family. So yeah, he'll be here a little bit later, but he has ceremony taking place. So maybe now I'll be able to get a word in edgewise with him not being here.
Torah.
Torah. Torah.
We know that's not stopping you. No, I'm just joking.
So if you recall, in between the last two, we were last in the book of Numbers. We had Shavuot, or the Feast of Weeks, in between. And so it's been a minute since we were in Numbers, a couple of weeks. So just a quick review on Numbers. We started in Numbers. We had finished the book of Leviticus, and we started in Numbers chapter 1 through 3, and we saw where the last portion where the Yehovah had instructed Moshe to take account of all the children of Israel from 20 years old and upward. And so they took account of all the tribes, and ended up being 600 some odd thousand of the men, just the men 20 years old and upwards. And we can kind of surmise from that the children of Israel were probably at least 1 million in number. At least we would surmise, but it's definitely 600,000 men 20 years old and upwards. And then you see that he divided all the tribes. He set apart the Levites from the other tribes to do the service of the tabernacle. And then he split the tribes up into camps, into 4 different camps. The 12 tribes divided into 4 different camps, and told them where they were to be positioned in the camp around the tabernacle, and how they to set forth. When they set forth, remember the tabernacle was a mobile home, so to speak, or a mobile apartment that they would take down and set back up upon the unction of the Yehovah. And so when they moved out in a certain order. So we got those things in the first 3 books. And now we come into the first 4 chapters, I should say, of Numbers. And now we're coming into the middle of Numbers. We're starting this portion at Numbers chapter 4, starting at verse 21. And this portion is called Naso, which means lift up. Or it's commonly said take the sum of, but in the Hebrew, it's more of connotation of lifting up the heads. And so I'm in Numbers chapter 4, starting at verse 21. And it says, and the Yehovah spake unto Moses, saying, take also the sum of the sons of Goshen throughout the houses of their fathers by their families, from 30 years old and upward until 50 years old shall thou number them. All that enter in to perform the service, to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. This is the service of the families of the Gershonites, to serve and for burdens. And they shall bear the curtains of the tabernacle, and the tabernacle of the congregation, his covering, and the covering of the badger skins that is above upon it, and the hanging for the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the hangings of the court, and the hanging for the door of the gate of the court, which is by the tabernacle, and by the altar round about, and their cords, and all the instruments of their service, and all that is made for them, so shall they serve. And the appointment of Aaron and his sons shall be all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, in all their burdens and in all their service. And you shall appoint unto them in charge all their burdens. This is the service of the families of the sons of Gershon in the tabernacle of the congregation, and their charge shall be under the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. As for the sons of Merari, thou shalt number them after their families by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even until 50 years old, shalt thou number them, every one that entereth into the service to do the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. And this is the charge of their burden, according to all their service in the tabernacle of the congregation, the boards of the tabernacle, and the bars thereof, and the pillars thereof, and the sockets thereof, and the pillars of the court round about, and their sockets, and their pins, and their cords, with all their instruments, and with all their service. And by name you shall reckon the instruments of the charge of their burden. This is the service of the families of the sons of Merari, according to all their service, in the tabernacle of the congregation, under the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron the priest. And Moses and Aaron and the chief. So if you see, you remember, so the Levites were set apart from all the other tribes. Their portion of the Yehovah was to do the service of the tabernacle. And the Levites were divided into three families. Kohath, three sons, Kohath, Gershon, and Merari. And they all had a service of the tabernacle. So if you remember, Kohath, and Yah's giving these things in order too, if we look closely. So Kohath, his family, his sons, they were the ones who were to go into the tabernacle after Aaron and his sons covered all of the instruments. They covered the Ark of the Covenant. They covered the table of showbread. They covered the altar of incense. They covered the menorah, right? And then once they covered it, then they directed the sons of Kohath to come in, and the sons of Kohath would be the ones who would transport the furniture, so to speak, of the tabernacle. And then after that, the sons of Gershon would come down or come in, and they would basically take off all the coverings. If you remember, the structure was covered with animal skins, and even the outer court had animal skins. So they would take down all the coverings, right, and transport the coverings. Then after that, the sons of Merari would come, and they would take down the physical, the structure, the bones, so to speak, the boards and the pillars and so forth. And remember, all the boards that the tabernacle were built in, they were all overlaid with gold. You can imagine that. Remember, so I'm in chapter 4, verse 34. It says, and Moses and Aaron and the chief of the congregation numbered the sons of the Kohathites after their families and after the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that entereth into the service for the work of the tabernacle of the congregation. And those that were numbered of them by their families were 2,750. These were they that were numbered of the families of the Kohathites, all that might do service in the tabernacle of the congregation, which Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Yehovah by the hand of Moses. And those that were numbered of the sons of Gershon throughout their families and by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that entered into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, even those that were numbered of them throughout their families by the house of their fathers, were 2,630. These are they that were numbered of the families of the sons of Gershon, of all that might do service in the tabernacle of the congregation, whom Moses and Aaron did number according to the commandment of the Yehovah. And those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari throughout their families by the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that entered into the service for the work in the tabernacle of the congregation, even those that were numbered of them after their families were 3,200. These be those that were numbered of the families of the sons of Merari, whom Moses and Aaron numbered according to the word of the Yehovah by the hand of Moses. All those that were numbered of the Levites, whom Moses and Aaron and the chief of Israel numbered, after their families and after the house of their fathers, from 30 years old and upward, even unto 50 years old, everyone that came to do the service of the ministry and the service of the burden in the tabernacle of the congregation, even those that were numbered of them were 8,504 score. According to the commandment of the Yehovah, they were numbered by the hand of Moses, everyone according to his service and according to his burden. Thus were they numbered of him as the Yehovah commanded Moses. So another thing to notice here is, it gives this number of 8,504 score. So remember, the number of the Levites, they took two numbering, so to speak. So that wasn't the total of the Levites. The total of the Levites was about 22,000, if I remember correctly, of all the family. The house of Levi was 22,000. But the numbering for those in service, the number of the 8,000 was those 30 years old to 50 years old. So those who were fit to work in the service of the tabernacle, it was 8,000. But the whole tribe of Levi was about 22,000. Okay. And then notice that they numbered those for the service was a different numbering than the general population of Israel. It was from the men from 20 years old and upward. But the time for service for the service of the tabernacle, the men was 20 years. So you had to be at least 30 and you couldn't be any older than 50, according to the word that we just read. Okay. We're in chapter 5, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel that they put out of the camp every leper and everyone that has an issue, and whoever is defiled by the dead, both male and female, shall ye put out without the camp. And the camp ye shall, without the camp shall ye put them, that they defile not their camps in the midst whereof I dwell. And the children of Israel did so, and put them out without the camp, as Jehovah spake unto Moses, so did the children of Israel. Now remember, when they put them out the camp, we had read in Leviticus, it wasn't that they were put out the camp absolutely and totally into perpetuity. They were put out the camp until that the malady that they had passed, and there was a remedy for the malady and what they were supposed to do. We covered that in Leviticus. Verse 5, and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, when a man or a woman shall commit any sin that man commit to do they have done, and he shall recompense his trespass with the principal thereof, and add unto it the fifth part thereof, and give it unto him against whom he has trespassed. But if the man have no kinsman to recompense the trespass unto, let the trespass be recompensed unto the Yahweh, even to the priest, beside the ram of the atonement, whereby an atonement shall be made for him. And every offering of all the holy things of the children of Israel, which they bring unto the priest, shall be his. And every man's hallowed things shall be his. Whatsoever any man giveth the priest, it shall be his. And the Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, and it be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither she be taken with the manner, and the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled, or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled, then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest, and he shall bring her offering for her, the 10th part of an ephah of barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon, for it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity to remembrance. And the priest shall bring her near, and set her before the Jehovah, and the priest shall take holy water in an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle, the priest shall take it and put it into the water. And the priest shall set the woman before the Jehovah, and uncover the woman's head, and put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water that causeth the curse. And the priest shall charge her by an oath, and say unto the woman, If no man have lain with thee, and if thou hast not gone aside to uncleanness with another instead of thy husband, be thou free from this bitter water that causeth the curse. But if thou hast gone aside to another instead of thy husband, and if thou be defiled, and some man have lain with thee besides thine husband, then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing, and the priest shall say unto the woman, The Yahweh make thee a curse and an oath among thy people, when the Yahweh doth make thy thigh to rot and thy belly to swell. And this water that causeth the curse shall go into thy bowels to make thy belly to swell and thy thigh to rot. And the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. And the priest shall write these curses in a book, and he shall blot them out with the bitter water. And he shall cause the woman to drink the bitter water that causeth the curse, and the water that causeth the curse shall enter into her and become bitter. Then the priest shall take the jealousy offering out of the woman's hand, and shall wave the offering before the Jehovah, and offer it upon the altar. And the priest shall take an handful of the offering, even the memorial thereof, and burn it upon the altar, and afterwards shall cause the woman to drink the water. And when he has made her to drink the water, then it shall come to pass that if she be defiled, and have done trespass against her husband, that the water that causeth the curse shall enter into her and become bitter, and her belly shall swell, and her thigh shall rot, and the woman shall be a curse among her people. And if the woman be not defiled, but be clean, then she shall be free, and shall conceive seed. This is the law of jealousies, when a wife goeth aside to another instead of her husband, and is defiled. Or when the spirit of jealousy cometh upon him, and he be jealous over his wife, and shall set the woman before the Yahweh, and the priest shall execute upon her all this law. Then shall the man be guiltless from iniquity, and this woman shall bear her iniquity. Questions, comments? Oh, there's a lot there. It's a lot there. Okay. All right, Leah.
Shalom, I have a question.
Yes.
Minister Baruka. So I
Yes.
understand if the lady, the wife, I should say, is guilty of, you know, adultery, and they bring them before the priest and they perform this test. If she is found not guilty of committing adultery, and it's just part of the jealousy on the husband's part, what is the consequences then?
Well, you mean for the husband?
Yes, for the husband. He just put aside his jealousy and forgive her. I mean, just put aside his jealousy, and what would be the outcome after that?
Okay, so we would need like some backstory here to um, the culture that they were in. So the way that it makes it seem, this wasn't absolutely mandatory. She didn't have to submit to this. So this was like, this is what, you know how we say that um, the way that Yah would have it in the Bible amongst the children of Israel, my business is your business. And so that's a little bit difficult for us to comprehend. But so now this is the man in this situation bringing up the issue that he has and bringing the community into it, bringing it into the priest to prove for himself. So the way it says, um, he shall bring her and she shall, and the judge and the priest will make her, so on and so forth. But if, this conversation more likely started at home, right? Well, we need to go to the priest. We need to go see the priest and see what's going on. And so she doesn't have to consent to it. So if she don't consent, then you have a domestic dispute. So it's not that she had to order. So now, depending on the relationship, now she could say, okay, I will do it. Now, if she does do it, then she undergoes this. And so now she didn't consent, then it'd be like, well, why wouldn't you consent, right? If you see somebody, well, why wouldn't you consent? So what did you do? This and that. And so the consequence, there was no consequence on the man because he didn't enter into it with, how can I say? It wasn't mandatory for him to do it. So when it comes that she's found not guilty, there's not a consequence. Well, like you accused her now, can you say, is this a private matter? He brought it to the priest. Do the community know about this? I mean, we could speculate, but I guess the consequence would be he's in their home. The consequence would be his conscience is sound, right? So I know that's a whole nother thing.
Well, Toda, for answering that, I'm glad that you brought out the point that it's optional. So that is a part of her saying, I'll do this so that we can regain trust and that I'm not unfaithful to you. So therefore we can move forward. And there's a lot of things that we may do in not just marriages as well, but friendship to say, hey, I can prove that I didn't do this. And that does ease the relationship. So Toda.
I love the vibe. And let me say something, sidebar, on topic, off topic. I know a lot of us can't comprehend being in idyllic relationships as they were described in the Bible. An idyllic relationship in the way we was raised is a Disney movie, you know what I'm saying? Prince Charming, this and that. And a lot of us grew up with that fantasy. But understand, a lot of times it seemed like, in the Bible, it seemed like a woman is a second-class citizen or she was property. You have to understand what it was a woman was actually held to the highest standard and delicateness. She was to be a protected class. The Bible speaks of children of the brothers of Zion being so delicate, they wouldn't even put their foot on the ground, right? And so that's something that's totally foreign to us, whereas women empowerment, and I'm not I'm not casting a judgment against either one of those. What I'm saying is, in the Bible, in the ancient culture of Israel, and in many ancient cultures, but specifically in Israel, the woman was a protected entity, so to speak. She was protected from the time she was born. She was watched over carefully because a man will take a woman and just take her. If a woman's walking down the street unprotected, this was a regular thing. We see accounts of it in the Bible, and then say that's my wife. So from the time a woman was born, she was watched over by her father. So she had a brother, she was watched over. And then if she was to get married, she went directly from the protection of her father's house right to the protection of her husband. And that's one thing that the head covering symbolized, that she was always covered. She was always covered. So when it seems like she might have been property, so on and so forth, she was covered. And why was she covered? Because first of all, we know the delicateness of a woman. And most important of all, what she carried the future and the progeny of the future generations of the nation. So she was to be protected. Do you know it's certain tasks that a woman can do that can compromise her having childbirth if she get injured in a certain way? So this was looked at a totally different culture. So understand, it wasn't as property and you have to do everything I say and so on and so forth. It was more so, you are a protected class and we're going to watch over you and watch over your conduct and make sure that you're never under the veil of protection. I don't know if that made that clear. Right. And the thing of it is, now once we take that into account and we say we're protected under men, what we do is we bring it to contemporary times and we look at the men of today, right? So just imagine if the men were conducting themselves the way y'all said. So you'd be like, well, I want to be under protection of a man the whole time. Okay, well, what if your father was righteous? What if you had a righteous father living by the commandments? And then what if the man you were betrothed to was righteous also? So if we, like I said, we can't imagine an idyllic relationship, but if men and women, if the men and women of today were standing on their square in righteousness, it would be a different vision of being under protection of a man and being with a virtuous woman, so on and so forth. That's, even though we read it, it's almost impossible for us to imagine the way we've been raised, to have to be under the protection of a man. We look at that as burdensome, and we look at that as a totalitarianism, and all the things that men have done all throughout the nation through the years have tainted our vision, and we have to be careful bringing that vision to the Bible. All right.
Hey, man, I just want to say, when you don't read the Bible in full context, so you read it in isolation, you see how the women were under protection. It looks like they were under some type of bondage.
Okay.
But the book of Proverbs, the 31st chapter, verse 10 said, who can find a virtuous woman? And it says, for her price is far above rubies. So it shows us how precious and how valuable the women were. Essentially, the women, I know we say God is the source, but the women were the nucleus of the family. They the ones that kept everything together.
Okay.
And we see even Sarah, you know, what she did or the advice she gave to Abraham. And God said, obey what she said. Right. So it's a different look. It's a different aspect from today. I don't even know if women themselves, and I'm not saying this in a mean-spirited way, understand how valuable they are. Right? To understand that they're more precious than rubies. If you understood that, you would carry yourself different, you will walk different, you will talk different. And so I think that that's a part of the Bible that we got to focus a lot more on, because if the women are empowered, then the church is empowered. Now the church is going to do it, the men is going to lead, but there's a valuable place for the women in the nation, in the kingdom, and in Yah's house.
Okay, Torah for that, elder. And I know many of us have, but when you get a second, read Proverbs chapter 31 about the virtuous woman, you will see that she wasn't just a woman sitting at home on her hands and listening to the man. She was virtuous. She actually was industrious also, and she was an entrepreneur, and she enhanced the house with the ideas that she had. So see Proverbs 31 and see how Yah describes a daughter of Zion and how she is to be nowhere near a woman of bondage, a robot. All right, I'm in Numbers chapter 6. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Yehovah, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink, neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dried. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled, in the which he separated himself unto the Yehovah. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of his hair, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. All the days that he separated himself unto the Jehovah, he shall come at no dead body. He shall not make himself unclean for his father or for his mother, for his brother or for his sister when they die, because the consecration of his Elohim is upon his head. All the days of his separation he is holy unto the Jehovah. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he has defiled the head of his consecration, then shall he shave his head in the day of his cleansing. On the 7th day shall he shave it, and on the 8th day he shall bring two turtles or 2 young pigeons to the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and make an atonement for him, for that he sinned by the dead, and shall hallow his head that same day. And he shall consecrate unto the Jehovah the days of his separation, and shall bring a lamb of the first year for a trespass offering. But the days that were before shall be lost, because his separation was defiled. And this is the law of the Nazarite. When the days of his separation are fulfilled, he shall be brought unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and he shall offer his offering to the Jehovah, 1 he lamb of the first year without blemish for a burnt offering, and 1 ewe lamb of the first year without blemish for a sin offering, and 1 ram without blemish for peace offerings, and a basket of unleavened bread, cakes of fine flour mingled with oil, and wafers of unleavened bread anointed with oil, and their meat offering and their drink offerings. And the priest shall bring them before the Jehovah, and shall offer his sin offering and his burnt offering, and he shall offer the ram for a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Jehovah with the basket of unleavened bread. The priest shall offer also his meat offering and his drink offering, and the Nazarite shall shave the head of his separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall take the hair of the head of his separation and put it in the fire which is under the sacrifice of the peace offering. And the priest shall take the side and shoulder of the ram and 1 unleavened cake out of the basket, and 1 unleavened wafer, and shall put them upon the hands of the Nazarite after the hair of his separation is shaving, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Jehovah. This is holy for the priest, with the waved breast and the heaved shoulder, and after that the Nazarite may drink wine. This is the law of the Nazarite who has vowed, and of his offering unto the Jehovah for his separation. Beside that his hand shall get according to the vow which he vowed, so he must do after the law of his separation. Right? Any questions, commentary with that? Lo? No. Verse 22. And the Jehovah spoke unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron and to his sons, saying, on this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, the Jehovah bless thee and keep thee. The Jehovah make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Jehovah lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. You know, we say that so often. But if you look at what it's saying, this is what we would all hope for. And it's a blessing that's being spoken upon us. And when a blessing is spoken upon you, that means that you've been endued with that. Like, the word of Yah don't come back void. And who he sets in place to speak his word is as if he's speaking. So if Yah said, the Jehovah bless thee, and it say he shall bless thee, the Jehovah bless thee, and you bless, and keep thee, you kept. The Jehovah make his face shine upon thee. His face is shining upon you, and being grace, you under his grace. The Jehovah lift up his countenance upon thee. You know how powerful that is for the Jehovah to lift up his countenance upon thee, meaning his disposition, the way that he is. That means that's perfect peace, perfect joy, right? And give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. So that's very powerful. And if you see what's happening here, remember at the end of Exodus, after Moshe and the children of Israel followed the instructions to the T that Yah had them follow in building the tabernacle and all the instruments thereof, remember that the Jehovah, he filled the tabernacle, he was pleased. And then in Leviticus, he set apart the sacrificial system and the priest and all the things. And so now you had the tabernacle, you had the camps, now you had the priesthood and the sacrifices in the place, and he gave them the dietary laws. So once again, he's forming Israel. So now in Numbers, he numbering the people. They're getting ready to move and fulfill the promise that he gave to Abraham. And so now when you see that when he made the camp here, after they made the camp and they're set to move, he said, okay, before we move, let's make sure the camp is clean. That's why he said, if there's any lepers in the camp, let's get the camp clean. If there's any domestic dispute going on in the camp, let's get our households in order, okay? And then once they set to move, as he ordered everything, then he put his blessing upon them, and now they're getting prepared to move out to go fulfill the promise that he gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay? All right, we in verse 7, chapter 7, we're going to the end of this chapter. And it came to pass.
I have a comment about that.
Yes. Yes.
I really enjoy what you brought out on there, and it just rang in my mind when Chief always said this is a spiritual operation going on, you know, and to be blessed in Yashach shame is powerful and it's according to our faith, but that's his promise. And as we stand on his promises and as we do that every Shabbat, I just say Torah.
Torah. Torah.
Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Just laying back and off of. It's just so funny. It's not funny. It's just how even inside the camp, he had to clean inside the camp for them to move forward.
Okay.
And that's just like what he needs to do in Bethel. He needs to clean inside Bethel before we move forward.
Okay.
And that's so important. It's just time and time again. Then you go with the new, what they call the new covenant. It's your heart has to change, and that's on the inside. Everything Yah does is based on the inside.
Okay.
He don't move in chaos. He's a man of order.
Okay.
And it's just so we need to start aligning our life up to be in order. You know, when your car is on alignment, it's off balance, right?
Okay.
So that's just like our life. If our life is not aligned with the Most High, our life is unbalanced. And that's just unbalanced life. You know what I'm saying? And just, I'm not, my car not going to the left or to the right. It's steering a little bit. I got a lot of work to do, but it's not as bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like Yah works on the inside. Everything we want, like,
too, Yakazi, I thank you for bringing that out. It's an order operation in any field. So this is a spiritual operation, but the principles are universal law, and they can apply to any field of endeavor, whatever you're doing. There's an order operation in everything that's done. And if you skip steps and you try to move to a step before you've went with the steps that were supposed to happen prior to it, you might move on down the road, but please believe you're going to have to backtrack to get back to where you were, because you can't skip steps out of order without suffering a loss or suffering a setback. And that setback could work for your good, but if you move in the order operation, you can just keep flowing along. So there's, and whatever we're doing, whether it's relationships, whether it's our work, whatever it may be, there's a proper order operation. And prosperity, order is one of the laws of prosperity, okay? All right, we in chapter 7. Anybody else got something? Okay.
Shalom. You was talking about how you can't miss any steps in the order with Yah or in your personal life or whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Some of us sometimes forget that when we skip steps, those steps come back when you're moving forward also to force you to learn how to stay in alignment. Like, for example, with our credit, right? We'll say my credit got bad because I had to do A, B, and C to do, just to survive, right? But then we're paying off certain things, right? But we're not paying off that major thing. We just let it go, but it's still gonna follow you.
Okay.
With what you're trying to do in the future.
Okay. Torah. Numbers chapter 7, verse 1. And it came to pass on the day that Moses had fully set up the tabernacle and had anointed it and sanctified it, and all the instruments thereof, both the altar and all the vessels thereof, and had anointed them and sanctified them, that the princes of Israel, heads of the house of their fathers, who were the princes of the tribes and were over them that were numbered, offered. And they brought their offering before the Jehovah, 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen, a wagon for 2 of the princes, and for each one an ox, and they brought them before the tabernacle. And Jehovah spake unto Moses, saying, take it of them, that they may do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and thou shalt give them unto the Levites, to every man according to his service. And Moses took the wagons and the oxen and gave them unto the Levites. 2 wagons and 4 oxen he gave unto the sons of Gershon according to their service. And 4 wagons and 8 oxen he gave unto the sons of Merari according unto their service, under the hand of Ithamar the son of Aaron the priest. But unto the sons of Kohath he gave none, because the service of the sanctuary belonged unto them. Unto them was that they should bear upon their shoulders. And the princes offered for the dedicating of the altar in the day that it was anointed. Even the princes offered their offering before the altar. And Jehovah said unto Moses, they shall offer their offering, each prince on his day, for the dedicating of the altar. And he that offered his offering the first day was Nishan. So understand here, it's saying that all the heads, the 12 heads of each tribe, brought an offering that they described wagons and 6 covered wagons, 12 oxen, a wagon for 2 of the princes, 1 of ox. So this was brought unto, remember now, we talk about protected classes. The Levites were a protected class. So they had to be provided for by the nation. That's why I say every offering that you bring unto the priests and to the Levites, it's theirs now. The hallowed things that you give is theirs. You bring a sacrifice, you bring material goods, it's theirs. It's how they provided for it. And so now, remember, they had to transport the mobile tabernacle and all its instruments thereof. And so now the heads of the tribes, they brought wagons, and then they brought oxen. Carrying, they're very strong animals that put things on their back and they can drag. And so they brought wagons and they brought oxen for them to be able to transport the coverings and the pillars and all these things. Okay. Verse 12. And he that offered his offering the first day. So that was what the collective princes brought together. Then each individual tribe, the head of each individual tribe, is going to do a separate offering. And he that offered his offering the first day was Nishan, the son of Amminadab of the tribe of Judah, and his offering was 1 silver charger. The weight thereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. Both of them were full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 spoon of 10 shekels of gold full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Nishan, the son of Amminadab. On the second day, Nathaniel, the son of Zuar, priest of Issachar, did offer. He offered for his offering 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 spoon of gold of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offering, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Nathaniel, the son of Zuar. On the third day, I'm gonna tell you already, every offering is the same. So I'm gonna read through this fast. Every single one is identical. So, but I'm still gonna read all of them because that's what, in keeping with the protocol. On the third day, Eliab, the son of Helon, prince of the children of Zebulun, did offer. His offering was 1 silver charger. The weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. Both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Eliab, the son of Helon. On the fourth day, Elazar, the son of Shador, prince of the children of Reuben, did offer. His offering was 1 silver charger of the weight of 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, one young bullock, one ram, one lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, one kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Eleazar, the son of Shedeur. On the 5th day, Shelumiel, the son of Zerushai, the prince of the children of Simeon, did offer. His offering was 1 silver charger. The weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Shelumiel, the son of Zerushai. On the 6th day, Eliasaph, the son of Duel, the prince of the children of Gad, offered. His offering was 1 silver charging of the weight of 130 shekels, a silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Eliasaph, the son of Duel. On the 7th day, Elishama, the son of Ammihud, the prince of the children of Ephraim, offered. His offering was 1 silver charger. The weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Elishama, the son of Ammihud. On the 8th day, offered Gamaliel, the son of Padazur, prince of the children of Manasseh. His offering was 1 silver charge of the weight of 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 of the kids of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Gamaliel, the son of Padazur. On the 9th day, Abidan, the son of Gideoni, prince of the children of Benjamin, offered. And his offering was 1 silver charger, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Abidan, the son of Gideoni. On the 10th day, Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai, prince of the children of Dan, offered. His offering was 1 silver charger. The weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Ahiezer, the son of Ammishaddai. On the 11th day, Pagiel, the son of Akron, prince of the children of Asher, offered. His offering was 1 silver charger. The weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and for a sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Pagiel, the son of Akron. On the 12th day, Ahira, the son of Enon, prince of the children of Naphtali, offered. His offering was 1 silver charger. The weight whereof was 130 shekels, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, 1 golden spoon of 10 shekels full of incense, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 1 lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and the sacrifice of peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he goats, 5 lambs of the first year. This was the offering of Ahira, the son of Enon. This was the dedication of the altar. Who's familiar with that term? Yeah. We need one of them auctioneers to read this part. This was the dedication of the altar in the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel. 12 charges of silver, Slikah, 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold, each charger of silver weighing 130 shekels, each bowl 70. All the silver vessels weighed 2,400 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. The golden spoons were 12, full of incense, weighing 10 shekels apiece after the shekel of the sanctuary. All the gold of the spoons was 120 shekels. All the oxen for the burnt offering were 12 bullocks, the rams 12, the lambs of the first year 12, with their meat offering, and the kid of the goats for a sin offering. All the oxen for the sacrifice of the peace offerings were 20 and 4 bullocks, the rams 60, the he goats 60, the lambs of the first year 60. This was the dedication of the altar after that it was anointed. And when Moses was going into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, then he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat that was upon the ark of the testimony, from between the two cherubims, and he spake unto him, Cain. So now think about this. So like I said, when we read in the so-called Old Testament, it gives us a sense of the way that Yah thinks, some of it. We can never know Yah in his totality, but it gives us a sense of the way he thinks about his order. Now, every single offering was exactly the same. Why would he have it already? Now, he could have just said, and all 12 tribes all did the same thing. He could have put it in however way he wanted to, but he had it all written out, detail by detail. So what that says to me, at least, is everything matters. Every single thing matters to Yah. There's nothing that don't matter to Yah. There's not one single detail. Like we discovered that when he was talking to Moshe in the mount. See that you do everything after the pattern that I showed you in the mount. If he said turquoise, he don't mean the shade below turquoise, whatever that may be, sky blue. Well, it's sky blue. That's how we think, Cain. And that's how some people approach this book thing. They don't know who they dealing with when they dealing with Yah. They don't know how specific Yah is, thinking, oh, Yah know my heart, or he'll just let this slide. No, every single detail matters to Yah. Everything matters to Yah, Cain. And then also, if we was to go into it, I guarantee you that the numbers of what he offered, there's a meaning, there's a reason behind everything that he did. And so when I was reading, whenever it seems to get to a portion that seemed kind of dry, I'm like, okay, what's the order in here? What I discovered here was the way he lined up. He told him to move out, and he had to split up. It was the camp of Judah was on the east, Reuben was on the south, Ephraim was on the west, the camp of Dan was on the north. The way that he ordered this, once again, y'all, order seems like a small thing, but when he was ordering, naming all the tribes, he did the tribe that rolled out first, the offerings. He did it Judah, Issachar, Zebulon. Then he went to the second tribe that was to roll out. The second time he did Reuben, Simeon, Gad. Then he did Ephraim, Manasseh. He did all that in a certain order, in the order that they was to move. So Yah is dynamic and magnificent, of course, without saying, and orderly. And so if we want things, so we use these principles. If we want things to go a certain way in what we're doing, put that same order, put that order into a thing. You know, sit down and take account. He took account of everything. Let's take account. Everything, take account. All right, let's order these. So we're doing that with our finances. We're doing that with our business. We're doing that with our work. We're doing that in our relationships. If you want to prosper and you want things to be covered, order things. Okay? All right, we're going to Book of Judges. Anybody got comments, questions? We're going to the Book of Judges, chapter 13. And we're going to read verses 2 through 25. That's what's on the schedule. Judges, chapter 13. All right. I start at verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Yehovah. And the Yehovah delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And okay, let me give a little background real fast. So once the children of Israel entered into the promised land, in the book of Joshua took them in. And then after Joshua, as a matter of fact, real quick, we got time. This is short. I'm gonna just to give a background, I'm gonna go to Judges chapter 2. And I'm gonna start at verse 6 to see where we at. Because they jump right into the middle of a story sometime and we don't know where we at. So remember, Moses led them to the border of the promised land. then he put his anointing, or Yah put Moses' anointing on Joshua. Joshua was with them through the years that he led until he died, basically. And then after he died, judges took over, right? And then, well, after he died, actually, elders took over. And then after the elders, judges were appointed. So let's go into that right now. It says, I'm in Judges chapter 2, verse 6. And when Joshua had let the people go, the children of Israel went every man into his inheritance to possess the land. And the people served the Yahweh all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua, who had seen the great works of the Yahweh that he did for Israel. So you see that Joshua let the people go. The promised land was split up into lots, and he let the people go. Every person went into their inheritance. And the people served the Yahweh all the days of Joshua. And after Joshua died, all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua. It went from Joshua to the elders that ruled over, who had seen all the great works of the Yahweh that he did for Israel. They had seen all the great works that they had did in delivering them, not from Egypt. They knew about Egypt, but what they had did, the great works he did to them, and some in the wilderness, and then entering into the promised land, the walls of Jericho and the battle of Ai, and so on. And Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of the Yahweh, died, being 110 years old, and they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath Heres, in the mount of Ephraim, on the north side of the hill Gaash. And also all that generation that were gathered unto their fathers, and also all that generation were gathered unto their fathers. And there arose another generation after them, which knew not the Yahweh, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. Now, why did they not know the Yahweh, nor know the works that he had done? Anybody? Bueller. It says, also all that generation that were gathered unto their fathers. So Joshua died, right?
Okay, I'm sorry.
So Joshua died, and they buried him. And it says, also all the generation that were gathered into all that generation, Joshua's generation, were gathered unto their fathers. And there arose another generation after them, Joshua and the elders, which knew not the Yahweh, nor yet the works which he had done for Israel. Why did they not know the works which he had done for Israel?
That question.
Please do.
I'll say, and even it's like after 3 generations, when we talked about even when we got the ark back, after 3 generations, it takes that short of a time for them to forget Yah's promises, forgot who he is. So they did not know the commandments and the laws. It just pretty much was out of their mind. They was doing whatever they wanted to do of the world. That's my answer.
Okay, so what allowed that to happen? Remember what he said? Remember what he, Dr. Tate, you gonna say something? No? Low? Okay, not. So remember, what did Moshe, I won't go back there. But okay, the reason that he didn't is because the parents didn't tell him.
Correct.
They didn't tell him. He said, what did he say? He said, when you lie us down, when you rise us up, when you walk us by the way. Just like if some of us knew our grandparents, but our children would never know them, right? But if we were intimately talking to our children, like had a picture and telling them about, like, you know how you read your children bedtime story? Let me tell you about grandmama. Big mama this, big mama that. And the imagination is so vivid, they'll feel like they there. And then if you keep sharing it with them time and again, they're going to be able to share the story like they were there. Well, I know my granddaddy lived on Central Park in Douglas, and they had 3 buildings, and him and my brothers, and so on and so forth. They stopped keeping the commandment of sharing with their progeny or with their offspring the works of the Yahweh. Now, saying you didn't know the Yahweh, that's an individual basis, but saying you didn't know the works, that's because they weren't telling about the great things that Yah had done. And then also understand, if you're not sharing the works, or if you are sharing the works that the Yahweh did, it's easier for our children or the people that you're sharing with to see his works in the earth now. So you can look out and be like, well, Yah did that. And now you look out into nature and be like, well, Yah's doing this and Yah's doing that, because Yah's always at work, right? His works are always around us. But if we have his reverence for it and know how he works and how he operates, then we can see him in every place, okay? All right. You got some, Elder? And they forsook, verse 10. Oh, and said 11, and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Jehovah and served Baalim, and they forsook the Jehovah Elohim of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger. And they forsook the Jehovah and served Baal and Ashtaroth. And the anger of the Jehovah was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hands of spoilers that spoiled them. And he sold them into the hands of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies. Whithersoever they went out, the hand of the Jehovah was against them for evil, as the Jehovah had said, and as the Jehovah had sworn unto them, and they were greatly distressed. Nevertheless, the Jehovah raised up judges, which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them. So this one he raised up judges, right? And yet they would not hearken unto their judges, but they went a horn after other gods and bowed down. In 18, and when the Jehovah raised them up judges, the Jehovah was with the judge and delivered them out of the hands of their enemies all the days of the judge, right? So this is where we're at. Now we're dealing with judges. And notice the phrase when it says, the Jehovah raised up judges. Now the judges delivered them out of what they were. So the judges were like warrior class leaders, but they also had to know the law too. So they had to know the law, because they would tell Israel when they were going off. But Israel didn't hearken unto them. You remember the law, you understand the law, you should do this, you should not do that. So they had to know the law. Not only that, they had to have the heart and the spirit of Yah on them to lead them into battle. And one thing I want to say too, when it says that Yah raised up the judges, and so after Joshua, Yah raised up Moshe, came. Yah raised up Joshua. Yah raised up the elders. Yah raised up the judges. So whoever's in the leadership at the time, wherever we find ourselves, please believe Yah raised them up, okay? So even, do you know, and so it's a system of things, as we were talking about, you can't skip steps. So even now, okay, so we have elders. So whatever's going on, Aunt Sarah told me this before. She said, whatever's going on at the temple, please believe is going on in one of the saints' house. And she was talking about it because I was having plumbing problems. And I was having plumbing problems. She said, well, it must be something going on, this and that. And sure enough, we ended up having plumbing problems. I was like, wow. And she was like, that's how it's always been. So it's a system of things that's going on here. So I know from being here, from studying it and getting the understanding of how Yah operates, whatever's going on here is connected to my personal life. This is why I support the elders, right? And y'all can say whatever y'all want or whatever, but when he raised up judges, if whoever's in place in leadership, Yah raised them up. So whether I agree with the elders or not, I agree with Yah, right? So I'm going to support the elders and try to support them in whatever way that I can. Why? Because I support Yah, I love Yah. Why? It just so happened that, once I get to know the elders, they're not giving me a reason to not support them. But even if they did, I still would. I'm not going to go off their personality to that. Now, it might affect some things, but I'm still going to support them. Why? Because I want things to go right in what I'm doing in my own personal life. So when I get down and bring it to the altar, when it's time for me to pray, I got ammunition to bring to Yah. Hey, Yah, you see I'm supporting your system of things that you set up. Do you know, Yah, even if the elders or the judges have an evil heart, do you remember Saul was in place? The spirit departed from Saul, right? But the man of Yah who was David, whose heart was perfect, Saul was trying to kill him. David still wouldn't go against Saul. He said, who am I to kill the anointed of Yah? So even if you can think you can find a fault in the elders, a fault in the judges, a fault in the leadership, we have no idea the work that Yah is working to see the totality of what he was doing. If we want to flourish as a people, as a nation, as a system, we have to support the leadership, Cain, because believe that Yah raised them up. All right, so that stood out to me when I read the passage. So I'm going to, now we're going to back to 13. The rest of the portion is short, so. Judges chapter 13, I'm in verse 2. And there was a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and not. And the angel of Jehovah appeared unto the woman and said unto her, behold now, thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. And now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine, nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto Elohim from the womb. And he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of El came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of El, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. But he said unto me, behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine, nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to El from the womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah entreated the Yehovah and said, O my Yehovah, let the man of El, which thou didst send, come unto us again, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. And El hearkened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of El came again unto the woman as she sat in the field, but Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband and said unto him, behold, the man has appeared unto me that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man and said unto him, art thou the man that spakest unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child? And how shall we do unto him? And the angel of the Yehovah said unto Manoah, of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing that I commanded her to let her observe. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Yehovah, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a kid for thee. And the angel of the Yehovah said unto Manoah, though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy bread, and if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Yehovah. For Manoah knew not that he was an angel of the Yehovah. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Yehovah, what is thy name, that when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor? And the angel of the Yehovah said unto him, why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is secret? So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering and offered upon rock upon the Yehovah, to the Yehovah, and the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of the Yehovah ascended in the flame of the altar, and Manoah and his wife looked on it and fell on their faces to the ground. But the angel of the Yehovah did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Yehovah. And Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die, because we have seen El. But his wife said unto him, if the Yehovah were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would at this time have told us such things as these. And the woman bare a son and called his name Samson or Shimshon. And the child grew, and the Yehovah blessed him. And the spirit of the Yehovah began to move him at times in the camp between Zorah and Eshtaol. Okay. So you see that was following up on the vow of a Nazarite. When Samson was one of the judges of Israel, I believe he was the seventh, and believe he was the final judge of Israel. And we all know the story, or many of us know the story of Samson. You know, you see, so he had the vow of a Nazarite from birth. He was a Nazarite from birth to the day of his death. So he never cut his hair, and we know the story of what is hair. So there's a spiritual understanding that we can get from the hair. That's a study we could go into, right? So he never cut his hair, and the Bible says that he derived his strength from his hair, and he told that secret to someone, and they manipulated him, you know, from that. And then, you know, one thing that struck me too in the vow of a Nazarite, he told the Nazarites, don't eat any grapes of the vine. He said, don't drink wine or strong drink. You know, there's a wine that's intoxicant, and then there's a wine that's just crushed grapes, right? Fermented grapes is wine that produces a liquor that can be an intoxicant. But then you could just have grape juice, which is just crushed grapes. That's also considered wine also, right? Could be. And then he said, but don't eat anything of the vine that grows of the vine. And so, because he's set apart, and what that is in ancient Israel, the grapes represent a celebratory mood. Things of the vine, it represented merriment and the blessings of agriculture. It was like things of the world, right? And so with Samson being set apart, Samson was not supposed to be concerned with anything worldly whatsoever at all, or a Nazarite. anything worldly. So participating in merriment. Now remember, a Nazirite vow was for any length of time that you vowed it. So it wasn't a vow of a Nazirite wasn't necessarily for life. It was for a time that you was to be set apart. And for that time you were set apart, you weren't concerned with no worldly things at all. Matter of fact, it reminds me of a thing. We're going to Luke chapter 1. It reminds me of a verse, even nowadays. It's 2 Timothy. Would you go to 2 Timothy for me? 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy. I gotta go there too. We're going to Luke chapter 1. 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy. Go to chapter 2. Read verse 4, please.
Shalom. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4.
Cain.
No man that warreth
Cain.
entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may be pleased him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Verse 5.
No, that's it, Cain. You see that? So that's similar to the vow of a Nazirite. It says, no, even in this life, anybody who set aside his life, he said at war, if that's spiritual warfare, to dedicate your life to Yah, he not entangled with the affairs of the world. All this stuff is periphery, ancillary, it's foolishness, really. And so you got to be careful. That's not to say you don't participate in the world, but you don't entangle yourself. Even with politics, and you get all caught up in that. Well, that's not to say every saint is called. It says any man that has set a vow to himself that he's going to serve Yah and Yah strictly and only any person, then you don't entangle yourself with the ways of this world, so that you may please the one who has set you apart. Okay? Yeah, it's a lot of distractions out here. We're going to Luke chapter 1. And this is it. We think we only got like 10 verses. Any comments, questions? Luke chapter 1, we reading 11 through 20. All right. And there appeared unto him an angel of Jehovah standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled and fear fell upon him. All right, we got to give a little background here too. So this is talking about John the Baptist. I think the parallel they're trying to strike is men who were set apart. They concentrate on the Nazirite. So they went to Nazirite vow in number 6. Then we got the birth of Samson. Now they're dealing with the birth of John the Baptist. And remember, Zacharias is John the Baptist's father. Elizabeth is his mother. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read verse 5, right? It says, Luke 1 and 5. It says, there was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias. He was a priest of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. So notice, Zacharias was a priest, and Elizabeth was of the progeny, a daughter, great-granddaughter of Aaron the high priest. And they were both righteous before El, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Jehovah blameless. Now, whoever has conversations with people, say Christians, lock this verse in, because this is one you can use to rebut. They be like, can't nobody keep that law? Can't because they think you got to be perfect because they don't read the Bible, they don't study, they don't know the definition of being perfect. They say nobody could keep those laws. You couldn't do all them laws. Well, hold on. It says Zacharias and Elizabeth, they were both righteous before El, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Jehovah blameless. So don't say it can't be done. It can be done. But then be prepared to explain what that means, though. But keep that Bible verse when when people use that, because we hear that a lot. I'm sure a lot of us believe that. We can keep the commandments blamelessly with understanding and wisdom. All right, so verse 11, and there appeared unto him Zacharias, which was John the Baptist's father, soon to be, an angel of Jehovah standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Yehovah, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Spirit even from his mother's womb. Torah. And many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Yehovah Elohim, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Adonai. And Zacharias said unto the angel, whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of the Elohim, and am sent to speak unto thee and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, you shall be dumb and not be able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because you believe is not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. Okay? That's the end of that right there. So the angel came to Zachariah. I wonder why y'all said struck him to be dumb without speech. Anybody got anything on that? I'll tell you what I think. I think that Zacharias being a priest, we should all be in tune with the spirit of Yah. Yet it's still him being a priest, he should have recognized who was talking to him. So Yah sent you somebody. And now mind you, remember, and this is thinking to be forgetful, remember, they know all these stories. They know the story of Abraham and Sarah, Cain, and all the other stories of barren women. They know the stories of angels coming and appearing and this and that. They have all this, and the priest's supposed to be well studied. And so now y'all show up and tell you what's going to happen, and then it's not wrong for your flesh to jump up. See, his flesh jumped up, and like, how this going to happen? You know what I'm saying? The same way Sarah's flesh jumped up, right? And she laughed. And he was like, I heard you laugh. I didn't laugh. Yeah, you laugh. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the name Yitzchak come from, right? Laughter. So the flesh might jump up. It's only a natural thing. It's not about fighting the flesh, all the time or trying to. Sometimes the flesh jump up and you recognize the flesh and then you overcome the flesh. So the flesh jumped up and like, how that's going to happen? But then he spoke it out his mouth, questioning Yah, how that's going to happen? And then I said, oh, please believe it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen because I said it. And until it happened, you ain't going to be able to speak or say nothing. So I think that's why he struck him right there, because he questioned Yah. And so it's knowing how to recognize Yah in these days and times and question it. And then a lot of times we have to be careful what you question, because an angel might show up, or a sign might come from the Yehovah, or a word might come from a coworker, or however it comes. And then not only do you not question it, you don't recognize it, and then you go the other way or go somewhere you shouldn't go, and then you get the results of disobedience, not knowing that you're being disobedient because we not stand on our prayer watches, because we not have a devoted relationship, because we didn't recognize the voice, because we don't spend enough time with Yah. Okay? All right. Yes, sir.
Here. Are we to see the angel as just an angel?
What's the other instance?
Before back in
with Abraham?
Not Abraham.
With Samson? Yeah.
Yeah, Samson.
Right, Cain. So once again, remember, I won't go there because it's not coming to my head, but remember that the Bible said, be careful how you entertain strangers unaware, because it might be an angel. So, like I say, don't be pretentious and think because we Yisrael, you know the mind of Yah, this and that. You know what he's revealed, and we should know our assignment. But the way Yah operate is beyond understanding. So, dude at the gas station pump, you know what I'm saying, who came to, ask, can he pump your gas? That could be an angel. Be careful to entertain strangers unawares, right? So, in both cases where the angel showed up, the angel showing up, I believe, here in the human form, okay? He's showing up as a human being. That's what, the words say, the wicked generation looking for a sign. That's what we need. We need an angel to literally come and be like, and you be like, oh, and it's floating, and he's like, and then be like, yeah, you need to quit that job. oh yeah, we need to send an application. Then we'll do it. But if dude come at the plumber and be like, man, yeah, you looking for a job and say the same thing that the angel said, and you like, oh, whatever, because you don't recognize the voice. Like we need a sign, we need the clouds to open and form into some lips and then speak and hear something majestic and all that. Y'all, yeah, I'm not gonna say y'all don't operate like that, but y'all's the spirit is always operating. It's more than likely gonna be, it says y'all of the still small voice, Cain. It's more than likely going to be subtle. It's going to be in our everyday wonders and travelings that y'all going to be sending us messages and sending us angels and giving us directives. We have to be tuned in.
Listen, we're not going to accept.
Answer your question? All right.
We're not going to accept celestial things.
Okay.
The book of Revelation talked about angels that had feet like lion.
Right.
I think it said had eyes.
Right.
Around it. Yeah, you see that, you oh, that angel.
That's y'all, for sure.
Now you running. Right. And so whenever we see, whether it was in Sodom and Gomorrah, wherever we see angels, they came in a form of people who we can talk to, you know, something that we recognize.
Okay.
And so that's how Yah presents. I mean, and of course, if somebody came to you glowing, you're going to assume it's angel.
Right.
And you're going to treat them different. But how you going to treat just a normal person?
Okay.
So y'all gonna send normal things, normal. And I'm not talking to nobody that got feet like lion. Right. We don't have nothing to talk about.
Right.
And so that's just how, you know, Yah moves. He moves in the ordinary. So
okay. Torah. Torah. Yes. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Would that be in the same category as familiar spirits?
Elder, you'll take that one?
In the same category of familiar spirits.
As far as the angels?
Yeah.
Angels unaware?
Well, when they talk about familiar spirits, we interact with people that have spirits on them. So these spirits are working through people, and these spirits are familiar spirits. They lion spirits. We're familiar with those type of spirits. They deceiving spirits. So in relationship to it being an angel, these familiar spirits are functioning within different people. You can be in California and that same spirit can be in a different person here. It's a familiar spirit, something that you've encountered. So that's what the Bible means when it talks about familiar spirits. I'm not sure if that was.
No, did I answer your question, Ima?
Who did they connect with?
Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Comments? So who's set to take the vow of a Nazarite? If you take that vow, hey, y'all might cause that hair to grow on your head, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Might get some hair back like that. You got to shave it back off. Dang, you might as well stay where you at. Women, you know, man or woman could take that vow. Anybody? The doors are open. That's it right now. All right, we're going to close in prayer if there's no more comments or questions. Okay. All right. Heavenly Av, we bless your holy shame. We thank you for putting your words in a form that we can digest in this day and time. We thank you most of all for the breath of life causing us to be in the land of living and under your covering, covered by the blood of your only begotten Son. We thank you for that. He is in him we have our being and our movement and everything. And so we're thankful that you gathered us here today to keep the Shabbat, Father. Cause us to keep it holy. Show us how to delight in the Shabbat, how to enter into your courts with praise and thanksgiving. Thank you for protecting us, delivering us safely. We pray over the saints who are making their way right now, Father. Deliver them here safely. Give them traveling grace. Cause us, Father, to keep this Shabbat in the spirit of unity. Teach us to love one another, honor one another, look on the good of one another. And we just thank you, Abba, for all things. We love you with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul. And we pray all these things in the precious name of Yahshua Mashiach. Amen. 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 The Shabbat is a delight.